kids? Guess where we're at? Right where we left off on the last episode. This needs to draw a vacuum for about 45 minutes to an hour. So we're going to let this sit and bake. I have changed my mind on the paint for this, on the bumper. This is a lot easier to bolt on, but what we're going to do is I'm going to go downtown to the paint store in Mount Union here, and I am going to get color match spray paint, the same paint coat as this vehicle. We're going to sand, scuff this bumper up and everything, going to strip everything off of it, and we're going to paint this the right color. I'm also going to use the same stuff on this. I decided against my bed liner stuff. I just thought it's going to be a lot easier because then I only have to do this part and I only have to do that part, and the color match spray paint is like $16 for a can. So I can also touch that up. I can also mold this back to shape and then possibly paint this. And if need be, if it looks really good and it matches really good, maybe we can do a little bit of correction on this. So, as you can see, this busted tail light, that's why I had to get another one. But I didn't see, look at that. I can open it now. There is a dent in it right there. But look at this mess. I didn't show you guys. This thing has a mess inside it. Ugh. So, I really don't know why they had the antifreeze in here. It's an empty jug. Or the oil bottles, that's empty. Or the STP fuel injection cleaner. I'm just guessing that they just had them back here just in case this was their winter beater, so they just kept this stuff in here. I'm also guessing that they had just done like maintenance on it. Possibly the intake gasket was done, and they used antifreeze to fill it back up. But it also looks like they had spilt antifreeze in the airbox somehow, because there's really no explanation for how it got in the airbox. Besides that, after a good cleaning of this interior, it's really not in that bad a shape. The seats are not tore. I don't know that I even showed you that. The seats are not tore at all, besides lots and lots of dog hair. The interior is actually in really good shape. This door is the only thing, and I'm gonna do something to this door panel. But look at even the driver's seat is not tore. And all the guys' information and stuff's in here. We're not going to go through that. This did come from Maryland. So it came from south of here, which is always a good thing because it keeps the rust down a little bit more. But, yeah, not too bad. Check it out. I just set it up there. But yeah, it fits good. I think reason being the other bumper has 4 bolts that holds it, is it also has that hole in it for a trailer hitch, and this also has a trailer hitch plug on it. The guy had it wired, and he has used the bumper as a trailer, you could tell. This one doesn't have that provision, which I actually like this bumper setup better. It's more usable, honestly. Like, it's a full step. Like, you can sit on it. It's very nice. I like this. This is a bumper setup I would go with, honestly, if I had one of these. But, yes, this will look a lot better, I feel. Okay, so I also want to show, when I went back for the bigger belt that I have in there now, I went to one Jimmy that I went and grabbed the belt off it to compare the belt size. And I found this at Johnny's a while ago. So I've had this. This was in that Jimmy that I pulled the belt out. This is a nice one. I tell you what, man. It's worth looking around Johnny's just to get tools. He says if you find it, it's yours. Alright, so I had pulled a vacuum. I shut it off. Went to Jerry's. Put fuel in my truck. I had a scare moment. It ended up being a dumb moment. I pulled out of here and my truck was not pulling out right, and then it wasn't shifting right, and then I went to go to the gas station and it felt like it wouldn't go into the higher gears. It was like revving high, and I could not figure it out, and I was like, shoot. I thought transmission was going out. Pulled into the gas station, left it running, cycled it through the gears, and it was like clunking. going through, and I was like, what is going on? So I stopped. I went up front, pulled dipstick out, wiped it on my shirt for the transmission, put it back in. Fluid looks good. The level, I mean, like, it's not burnt, it's clear, and it was at the right level. And I was like, my transmission's gone. I was upset. I put fuel in my truck, went to pull out, and I looked over. Whenever I loaded the Jimmy, it lifted the back end of my truck up off the ground, and my truck creeped forward, and it did it a couple of times. So I put it in four-wheel low whenever I unloaded it, so that it wouldn't creep forward, because I actually unloaded it on a little bit of a slope. And then I never put it back in two-wheel drive or auto mode. So that's what I was doing. I was in four-wheel low, like trying to go 60 miles an hour. It would not go. It would go like 40, and it was revving. I was like, what is going on here? I didn't go very far. It's not very far to the gas station, so it was like, wasn't like I ran it forever, but it runs fine. So anyways, I was gone for well over an hour, probably about an hour and a half. And these gauges, and now keep in mind I said that red gauge is definitely not reading right. It held exactly where I had it. So I'm going to go ahead and recharge this system. You already watched me doing it before. This time I'm just going to take these off, leave the vacuum on it. So we want to close both of these. That leaves the vacuum in the system, and then we're going to hook up to the low side. Didn't notice by the windows, it's freaking freezing in here. It's probably one of the coldest vehicles I've ever been in right now. So needless to say, it's working. So now that AC taken care of, we can take care of real issues, and that is a differential leak. And here's what I wanted to show you on this bumper. This bracket right here is extended. This is the original bumper. The one we got, now I just have it set in there. But you see, this is it right here. I have a dragonfly going nuts on my ceiling up here. Here, I grabbed a light. That is right there. That's the edge of the bumper. Now, I don't know exactly where it needs to be to line up. It needs to come back just a little bit more. The top one's right at the edge of the hole, so it's going to go back in a little bit more. That's how these older ones were. But we're going to take it back off anyways, because I need to sand this tonight and get it ready to paint. I'm also going to take the top cover off, and I don't know if I'm even going to worry about taking those out. I don't know if I'm going to tape that up or if I'm going to take it off. We'll see. So this plastic piece is actually very easy to take off. It has these things that you just squeeze it just a little bit, and then they slide right out. Alright, so I got the bumper off and stripped. Everything's off there. Then came this, and I was like freaking out for a second because there was this harness is off of the old bumper. There was no light or nothing in it. It was just that plastic piece, and I took it off there, and I was going to try to use the original ones off of the old bumper, and there was just really no way to attach it on there. Well, then I got to looking. The light bulb out of the old one, off the old harness, plugs right into it and seals. So that's, there we go. And there is another one here, because there's two lights on the old bumper over there. So we're just going to take the bulb out of that one, and then I don't know if I'm going to snip that off. I might go ahead and snip that off. This will plug into the stock harness then, and we won't have an issue. just 2 screws to hold that in. One was so rusted out I couldn't get it out. I had to drill the head of it off, and then I think that's a washer off of it. After I drilled the head of it off, I could pull it right out. So we'll scuff this later tonight. I'm gonna go to the gym because I took pre-workout, so I'm hype. And then I'm gonna pull that rear diff cover. So the diff oil didn't look too bad. It's really not that bad at all. Rear diff looks good. Nothing crazy. There wasn't any metal on the magnet of the cover. It looks good in there. But we found another issue while we were at it. I looked up at the exhaust, and you can see I cut this off. If here, this was slipped over that. Look at this. This was slipped over what is left there, and it was just flopping around. Does that look like crap to you? It looks like crap to me. Yeah, I had to put like a ring around that. These are all the same size pipe, but it doesn't hold a muffler or anything. The only thing it is the tailpipe that comes out the back. And if you see, whoever cobbled that all together the first time had it tight up against the plastic here. Look how this is melted, how this is melted. That's the way it was. So it's all right now. It's not touching. As you can see, we can move her around and we're not hitting anything. So it probably might be a little bit quieter now. Who knows? All right, so this turned into quite the mess here, but I got the lid cleaned up. All in all, this is in really good shape. This is not the factory cover. This was replaced. You can see that's a Dorman emblem right there. Now I need to clean all that stuff off there. I'm going to use this wire wheel because it's not very abrasive, and just go the whole way around. Wow, as far as I can. That sway bar kind of gets in my way, and you can always unbolt it and move it out of the way, but I'm being lazy, so I'm going to leave it there. Now you see draft shift hanging. I got the rear pinion out. It looks like, I'm guessing it was somebody's failed attempt at sealing this. It's almost like JB Weld. I don't even know. Look at this. I got some of it out. I got to work on it. That's like hard, whatever that stuff is. And right where the seal is going to ride does not look too hot. So I got to get that all cleaned up. There's actually a little bit of a groove there, but with a new seal, that'll still seal as long as you get that clean. So I got to wire wheel all this, get this all as clean as I can. Scotch-Brite would actually probably do good, but I got to pick this junk out that's on the inside of there, and then we'll try to put our new seal in here. We did, in fact, get her really clean. If you see that, now I got to pop that seal out of there. So I'm just going to grab a couple pry bars here and see if I can't just pop her out. Probably won't be that easy. If you hear a fluttering noise, it's the dragonfly in here still fluttering around. He hasn't found his way out yet. Alright, so got everything cleaned up. Here is our new seal. As you can see, put some silicone around the outside of this. This should seal, but you want to make sure that this has a good sealing surface. and you put it up in there. Also, right here, where your drive shaft attaches, you're gonna want to put silicone inside of here, underneath the washer that goes in there. So clean all that up, because oil can seep out through this nut right here. So you need to put sealer all over that stuff before you put it all back together. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in here. Whoa! And then I'll get back to you. Not sure if I left enough destruction here for one day, but I'm done. I'm tired. Fluid in the diff. Cover sealed. Hopefully. You see this? Look, somebody was hammering on this thing. You normally don't need to hammer and chisel on that, how they prod that. Anyways, while I had this out after I cleaned it, flipped it over, used a ball peen hammer and hit on the inside of every place where one of these bolts go in, because they kind of suck in whenever you tighten them up. So hammering on the backside will take that indent and pop it out the other way, so it actually pushes tighter on the seal. I did not put any gasket sealer on this. I just threw it on there. The one that was on it had gasket sealer on it. It's a pain in the butt to take off when you do that. I had to get all that silicone and stuff off. Won't have to do it if it has to come back off. It'll just come right off there. All right, I know car hoods aren't tables. How the Subaru is. That's what it's made for. I had the paint shop downtown mix me up some indigo blue, paint color matched for this. And I also, while I was down there, I got their glazing putty. It's supposed to be really good stuff. That and this. That'll help out later. It's expensive. It was $20 for a quart. But this was also about $20 for a custom mixed can. But we need to sand this thing up and get it ready for paint. There is some slight rust areas where the bolts were here. We got to really clean that up. So I'm going to get my power sander out here so we can go over this a little quicker. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and hit this with some primer, Transtar, and then after I get a good coat over the whole thing, then we'll put the custom colors on. Now it's still drying, but if you look at it, it still kind of has a little bit of a textured finish. So after this dries, I did put it on there thick. So after it dries, we will sand this one more time. I'm going to hand sand it with a light sandpaper, probably 400, and then we'll clean it up and then we'll put paint on it. So I hand sanded. I actually used 600 grit and went over this and smoothed it out, and only in the main areas where it's all going to be visible. I didn't sand the whole thing, but then I went over with the heat gun, made sure all my solvent was dry, my wax and grease remover, and now I'm going to hit it with some paint. And if this does not turn out perfect, we will be sanding it again and 2K clearing it. But I just want to see how this turns out first. I don't want to mix up a can of 2K clear and until I'm 100% sure I'm going to use it, because then you have to use it, and I need to paint that area, and if this doesn't look good on that, then it's not going to look good on that, so we'll 2K clear them both if that's the case. But first, we're just going to paint this bumper. Now it's still wet. I just sprayed it. Yes, it doesn't have a spectacularly shiny finish, and unless I put the 2K clear on, it's not going to look perfect. Plus, I used that whole can on this bumper because that's how much it took to coat it. And look, I still didn't get full coverage on the very top. If you can see it, that's covered by that plastic cover, so I decided to, you know, not finish coating that and use more on the viewed areas. So we will be wet sanding and clear coating this after it gets a good dry on it. I want to see what it looks like and how far off the color is. It, you know, it looks darker. Yeah, this is probably the, I don't know. It looks pretty dang good, actually. On top of that, the nozzle that came with the can plugged when I was only like 2 coats in, and I had to grab a nozzle off of one of my brand new cans of Transtar. It's always good to have extra cans laying around. Yeah, there's really nothing left in there. But I'm going to clean this nozzle up because it's still good. And I'm going to need it later. Now that it's drying, it's very clear that it's a lot darker than the vehicle itself. As you can see, I really don't feel like wasting any more money on getting these spray cans. I think we're going to go ahead and switch this to black. That's a learning experience. Color match spray cans obviously aren't going to be perfect, but that's just so far off that it's just going to look awkward unless you just go ahead and change the color altogether. It definitely looks like you were trying to match a color and you were way off. So you might as well just make it a whole nother color so it doesn't look like, oh, well, you screwed up. You know what I mean? If it's just black, it's going to look fine. So we'll do this black. We'll have to do both sides in black from here. I'm just going to go from the trim line here. We'll just do this and this. And I am going to use spray paint, but that 2X paint, I've had really good success. That's what I painted the whole Eclipse with, and it turned out wonderful. So that's probably, well, that is what we're going to do with this. It'll have a nicer finish, and I probably won't even clear it. I have to leave for work in like a half an hour, but I want you to see this. This turned out so much better. So I was looking around the garage for 2X Rust-Oleum, and I happened to have almost a full can of this high performance Rust-Oleum, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. It has a nice sprayer on it. It works really good. This is like 2 coats, and it was just real quick. And look at the freaking finish. Like, it's freaking amazing. It looks like legit. So good stuff. Really good stuff. So anyway, guys, that's going to be the end of this episode. I don't have time to get into anything else in this episode. Did slap this back together. I'll do a little bit more in the next episode. You'll see that. And the channels that got hacked, they're starting to get their channels back. Built got his channel back. Happy for him. And also, this is the end of this episode. So if you guys like this episode, go check out some of my other ones. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode of Unwrapped.